big questions this morning. Just how did fish get together with chips? Do you know?
That is a big question. It's a gastronomic mystery, and it's been answered in a new book about the origins of British grub. Here's our very own, you'll love this, our very own chicken tikka masala.
There you go.
Bangers and mash, vindaloo, even the humble sandwich. Ask any of us a bit of background about our favourite foods, and we're not exactly chock full of answers. So, madam, you're about to enjoy some delicious bangers and mash. Any idea where they earn their nickname?
I have absolutely no idea.
And this tasty sandwich, any idea where the name for that comes from?
Was it invented in Sandwich?
Well, she's nearly right. It was the Earl of Sandwich who invented them, while during the First World War, sausages full of ration book food were dubbed bangers because they popped on the fire. So it seems our cuisine is littered with culinary conundrums. Did you know that a Caesar salad, for example, is not named after the famous Roman emperor, but in fact a Mexican chef less than 100 years ago? Just one of the food facts from a new book which also explains the origins of phrases like humble pie and the big cheese. But while we all call it breakfast, there's one thing the book doesn't define, whether it's right to call this dinner, supper or tea.
Difficult, isn't it? Right, here's food writer and historian Albert Jack. Albert, very good morning to you. Some good questions you're answering here.
Yeah, good questions. Questions need answering.
What motivated you to do this in the first place?
Well, it's something I've been doing for a while, going back to red herrings and white elephants, where I got into the history and the origins of the English language and actually explained the history of expressions like got you over a barrel, money for old rope, turn a blind eye. I did the same thing a few years ago with Pop Goes the Weasel on Penguin Books, where I tell you who Humpty Dumpty really was and the history behind that and who the three blind mice were.
And now it's the turn of food.
Yeah.
So how did fish and chips get together? Go on, tell us.
Well, nobody knows how fish and chips got together. The question really was, why is fish and chips always eaten on a Friday? And it's the Fish Friday, isn't it? And it goes back to the old Catholic beliefs that you had to fast over the weekends, but you only couldn't eat land animals, it was only fish. And yet still to this day that tradition remains, and people are queuing up and down the country outside fish and chip shops simply because of perceived religious beliefs.
I grew up in a fish and chip shop. I never realised Friday was so busy. Yeah, my dad was a master fisherman.
Was he? Yeah. What I wanted to do to get into the history of the book, rather than write food history like that, or rather than write about the Romans and Marco Polo and the spice routes and the French and the Italians, as has been done before, what I wanted to do is to explain who Margherita really was.
Yeah, this is Margherita pizza.
And why the world's most famous pizza is named after her.
Who is Margherita?
Well, Italy didn't exist prior to about 1870. There was no such country. It was a series of regions and provinces that Napoleon had broken up earlier in the century. When it was first unified, Margherita was the first queen, and to honour her, the pizza makers of Naples made her a pizza in the shape of the flag of the new Italian ensign.
Okay,
and the basil being the green, the white being the cheese, and the red being the tomato, of course,
No way.
which forms the base of every pizza we eat now.
Sandwich, would you give us a brief history?
Lord Sandwich, the Earl of Sandwich, well, he was a gambling man, wasn't he? And he used to eat his meat while he was playing cards and realised that his fingers marked the cards and his playing partners could work out how he was gambling, so he asked for his meat to come between two slices of bread. The interesting thing about that particular story is he inherited his title from his great-great-grandfather, who chose Sandwich as his title because it was one of the great ports of England. Had he chosen Bristol or Portsmouth, right now you'd be eating a ham and chutney Portsmouth or something. That doesn't sound the same, does it?
Yeah, or I'd like a couple of Bristols for lunch.
Indeed.
Okay.
And I know where you can get those.
Albert, nice to talk to you this morning.
Fascinating. We'll carry on chatting afterwards. We're going to get a weather update first, though. Here's Claire.
GMTV Weather, sponsored by Nestlé Cereals. Proudly waving the banner for whole grain.
Hello there, it's picnic weather today. It certainly is. We're seeing some lovely sunshine this morning, particularly across the western half of the UK. Always more cloud just sort of shrouding the coasts of Scotland as well as England on this eastern strip here. Elsewhere, as you can see, it's fine and dry with some sunshine. And through the afternoon, there'll be little change, to be honest. Any sort of dampness where the cloud is thick enough across the east will clear away, but you are likely to see that cloud sort of be quite stubborn across East Anglia and perhaps eastern counties of Scotland as well. But to the west, you're seeing blue sky, lovely sunshine to end the day, and it's going to be another warm one as well. Temperatures at the very best, probably 21 degrees Celsius across Scotland and Northern Ireland. That's 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and even further south, 22 will be your high. That's 72 Fahrenheit. And this is the picture for the next few days. It's looking pretty good. For the weekend, we're seeing some fine and dry weather across mainland Britain, but certainly to the west, always more cloud, perhaps even some patchy rain coming in. The winds will pick up as well, but even so, it's going to remain warm. Here's your summary. Check out what the weather will be like this weekend on our website, gm.tv.
Good morning. We've an action-packed extravaganza for you today. Can you remember when this Madonna hit was top of the charts? Well, I'll give you a clue. It was the 1980s. We're going back to the future as we look at a new TV drama set in the 80s, which is on our screens next week. And here's another challenge for you. This cute baby and dashing young man has turned into a rather familiar face on this very sofa. But who is the mystery man? You can find out later.
There's something for everyone with thousands of blockbusters, books, games and CDs at brilliant prices in Sainsburys Entertainment Blitz.
When Tom came home from school with a letter, I was horrified. I mean, head lice. Who needs them? But a friend told me there's a perfect solution. Full Mark Solution. It's a 10-minute treatment that's clinically proven to kill head lice. No nasty smells and no pesticides.